for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENOM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, Venomfire here, back from the video, and today me bringing you guys my full New York Jets Gun Bunch offensive ebook. This has been a very highly requested video after I dropped a couple of money plays from the New York Jets offense. Now I'm going to be bringing you guys the full complete ebook of about 4 plays. Now I'm only going to go over these 4 specific passing plays. Each one has at least 2 or 3 setups per play, but there's also a couple of other plays I'm not going to go over, like mesh post. That plays very good. I'm not going to talk about it in this video though. Things like bunch trail and mesh are some honorable mentions as well. The individual plays I'm going to go over are going to be Z spot flood, bench pivot, and Jets dig. Also smash return is the same as bench pivot basically, with the exception of a couple of routes, but I like bench pivot a little bit more. That's what I'm going to run. So also, before we get into the video, make sure you guys go ahead, hit that subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, about 77% of you guys watching are not subscribed. So if that's you, you're watching right now, you're not subscribed, go back out of the video, hit that subscribe button, drop a like while you're at it as well. But yeah, moving on. So again, New York Jets offensive playbook, very, very good. This should be used a lot more online. I'm sure it already is. And overall, very, very solid. Let's talk a little bit about abilities though. As far as abilities, I recommend getting Hot Route Master. If you do not have Hot Route Master, there's a couple of things that you can do. So you want Backfield Master, you want Tight End Apprentice, and then you want a Slot Apprentice right here. So you're going to need 3 abilities. In addition to a Gunslinger, I would recommend having. And then you also want Playmaker right here with this outside receiver. We got McCaffrey, so he's going to be our Playmaker today. But overall, those are the abilities you want. You save a lot of AP by just using Hot Route Master, Gunslinger, and Playmaker, and then whatever other abilities you want on the offensive line. But yeah, so again, here's a look at my Audibles. I'm going to start out with the ever-popular Z spot at the top right there. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop straight into it. Alright guys, now there was a little bit of a patch a couple of days ago, so I guess it is better that I'm doing it now with the patch. The patch did change a little bit. Specifically with zones like cover 3, things of that nature, but pretty much the cover 3 beaters that I use still do work pretty decently. Now just taking a look at our first cover 3 beater, you're just going to smart out RB and streak B. Here's the setup that I would probably go with Y on a flat and X on a drag. Again, this isn't a specific setup, but it's something that I just wanted to show pretty briefly here. And again, this is cover 3, so we'll show it, boom, but you see when that strong safety is the deep zone, he's going to play it better. We'd get hit, but you see it just doesn't work as well. I do have cover 3 beaters that work a little bit better. For example, if I were to kind of like base a line, usually this guy would shift over to the middle. You would probably have a little bit more space, but again, certain cover 3 beaters are just not going to be as good. Again, here's a look at what you could do. Drag X, fade B, and then block your running back. You see you kind of get a little bit of separation, but he's going to kind of loop back around and play that pretty well. Now, I do have a cover 3 beater that's going to work better. The flood one still works, and this Jets dig one that we'll talk about later works very well in addition. But yeah, even with that cover 3 beater not working, that's not the main focus of the Z-spot play regardless. What we're going to do is drag A, we're going to post A, and then I like to smart out RB and out B. So here's a look at our first setup. As far as your running back goes, on both of these setups, you can either block him if you want to, or you can actually send him out on a flat. So again, it depends. It's up to you completely on what you want to do. I'm just going to kind of alternate off depending on what I want to do. But yeah, here's a look at our first setup. Pretty solid. If you ask me, you have a drag. And again, make sure that your solo side receiver is always the one with Playmaker. If I were to flip my bunch, if I were on the right hash, I would put my Playmaker right over here so that he's always the one that has our ability. But yeah, here's a look at our setup. We're going to go ahead and snap the ball as I'm accidentally using a linebacker right there. But yeah, that's just a look at what you can kind of do with the Playmaker ability. Again, if you're running regs, McCaffrey's the only guy that actually has it, so that's something to be pointed out. But yeah, you see just the ability to kind of Playmaker him back to the left. I can Playmaker him upfield. Gives me a lot of power. If you ask me, as far as this right side is concerned, you see corner out can get open against zone. It is a little bit better against man, I would say. And I recommend getting that route technician ability. Also, cover 2, it's going to be open very well. Again, here's a look at what you can do. Not only can you do a post route, but you can also do a crosser. So I can do crosser, specifically against man coverage. That's probably what I would do. You see how Chris Godwin, look at that separation against man coverage that he's going to get. This is the reason that the play is so popular. You can't really play any kind of man coverage against it. Even if you have one step ahead abilities, it's not really going to help at all. Just makes it a handful. And obviously combined with the rest of the offense, it's going to be very difficult. So again, taking a look at man coverage. And even if it is man coverage, let's say he uses that corner out, which he could do. Your crosser is going to be open. And also, boom, look at the playmaker. It's going to absolutely destroy man coverage. This is a running back, not even a receiver. So his stats are not too good in the receiving game. Obviously, it's McCaffrey, but yeah, you can just easily playmaker man coverage. He's going to have to do something to defend that, usually user it, which means the corner out more than likely will be open. So yeah, it's going to be our first setup. Moving into our second setup, it's going to be similar. Basically, all we're going to do differently here is going to be streak A instead of post sim. So again, our right side is similar. Our drag is similar. Again, with this setup, I can flat Y if I choose to. You can also playmaker McCaffrey up the field, which is very useful. A lot of people will just playmaker him back to the outside, but if you playmaker him upfield, it's just going to be a quick playmaker and throw. Your user's really not going to be able to react that quickly, and overall it just makes it very difficult to defend. Let's audible to like a cover 2. I haven't gone into that yet. And again, it's important that you just smart out this corner out. That is all I ask, and boom, you see he's just going to get over the top, as we did get hit as we threw, even with blocking my running back. So I guess that's why I recommend getting Hot Route Master. It saves you AP. You can get like a couple of post-up abilities or edge protectors that'll help in the pass protection game. Very important part to your offense, if you ask me. But again, cover 2. Let's see if we can get the right protection here. We'll snap it, and boom, you see Chris Godwin's just going to get over the top. Even getting hit as I threw, I was able to get the right trajectory and make the pass. Pretty simple. But yeah, one more time, I'll just show this play, and again, I can flat Y. If it's man coverage, the corner out's still going to get open right here. Sometimes he'll get bagged as he did right there, but a lot of times they're going to still end up using the corner out, even if he does get defended because of the threat that it carries. Overall, it's a handful to defend. That's pretty much going to do it for our first play. Let's move into our second play, which will actually be Jets Dig. Now, these first 2 plays that I'm going over, I did make separate videos on them, so I think I have even more setups in those, but I'm going to go over most of them in the video regardless. Now, our first setup will be our cover 3 beater. So again, a lot of these cover 3 beaters are patched, but this one works pretty well. Now, again, I'm just going to flip the play so that the safety's on that top, because if he's coming off the strong safety, it's going to be defended pretty well. Usually he won't be up there, but if he is, your cover 3 beaters aren't too good. I have some things I can do to open it up, which you'll see later. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of flip it around a little bit. Now, our first setup is just going to be on a corner route. Now, also, if I was to run this play a lot, I would probably recommend putting my slot corner or my slot apprentice on that outside. But again, be on a corner route. I'm going to put A on a crosser and X on a drag. Pretty simple. Here is a look at what we're doing. And again, I still have that playmaker, which will help for this play. Similar concepts to what we were doing. Last thing, I'm going to motion Evans just out a couple of steps like this, and you see he should get pulled down, which he does, and usually you can throw it over the top. But you see it's a lot closer than it used to be. It's not as open, but if you have enough speed, Brady doesn't even have Gunslinger. He has set feet lead, which is faster, but Gunslinger will be even faster than that. If you get Favre or Rodgers, they have an even faster release. Godwin's not exactly a fast wide receiver. You get someone 97 speed plus. This can get a lot more open is kind of what I'm trying to say. We're using the resources that we have, but overall it definitely can get open a lot more than it is right now. Again, I'll just kind of flip that, show this cover 3 beater again. And even if it isn't open, you have other options. I can always playmaker back. That didn't look as open. Boom, I playmaker back. If he's playing hard flats on the left, I can throw the crosser. If he's playing only curl flats on the left, I can throw the flat. I can playmaker him upfield, so I have options as far as that's concerned. Evans even could beat man coverage as well. So that was our first setup. Moving into our second setup, it's going to be kind of what I said. So if that strong safety is in that inside third coming from that right side, what you can do is you can actually streak A, drag X, and corner B. Usually I like to block my running back with this setup as I'm, again, in the wrong play. You'll see that throughout the video, me forgetting to audible. It'll happen, but here's the look at what we do. This is going to put a little more stress on that safety in the middle of the field, kind of open it up a little bit. This isn't the best setup, but if you're just purely trying to open up that outside receiver, you see you can get it open. But again, be careful with throwing these beaters. Make sure that they are, completely open before you uncork it, because with this patch, things play a lot differently. So go try it out in practice mode, see what you can and cannot throw with your particular quarterback or whatever. But yeah, so again, this setup, it's not my favorite, but I just felt I would throw it in a little bit. Again, it's just going to be X on a drag, A on a streak, B on a corner. You can leave the flat as always, depending on how much pressure is sent. But not only is that streak going to be open, but if they're playing cover 3 with the outside thirds, that corner route's going to be open all day. So you can easily throw that route if you choose to. But yeah, let's move into our next setup. Our next setup is going to go ahead and be to corner route A. We're going to corner out A, and then I'm just going to motion Chris Godwin over. So this is a decent play against cover 2 and man coverage. Godwin, again, he's not the fastest, so it's not going to be super open, but this is just a good spacing concept. We have a little fade route going to the inside. We have a corner route, which I can easily lowball with Gronkowski. We have the flats. We have a high-low read on that right side I really like, because this flat route is very, very good. You see, it's just going to be like a slower breaking route. Overall, can get very, very open. We have other concepts as well with the deep in route, and the flats kind of a high-low read. And then again, against like cover 2, you can kind of motion Chris Godwin over. I like to motion snap him as well, and sometimes you can get him open, but not only does it open up RB a little bit, it just opens up the middle of the field. And again, it takes particular speed, particular stats to get that open. Chris Godwin's not good enough or fast enough to really get that open, but against man coverage, I do think there's some opportunity to get open. You obviously have a couple of other man beaters with the in route, with the corner route that you can go with, but you see just kind of going up the field. He has a little bit of space. McCaffrey's going to be open as well, but overall, what you're doing with this is you're trying to bring his user's attention to the left side and throw that corner out. This is the only kind of a route combo that we're going to run with a corner route, so it's something that personally I like to have on the field. But yeah, so it's going to catch him off guard more than likely. Obviously, we have bench pivot, which is a corner out based play, but that corner out's a little bit different, kind of like an S post. So you can definitely tell the difference, and it will confuse your opponent, which is again the objective. In doing this setup, I can also just drag X and block my running back if I wanted to. I could easily just run a setup relatively simple like this one. Again, boom. I can motion him upfield, low ball it, but you see with Gunslinger and that quick playmaker reacting, very difficult to defend McCaffrey on any route. But yeah, overall, it's going to do it for Jets Dig. Again, I talked about this play for over 10 minutes in a separate video. I'm planning on leaving both of those videos down below in the description or the pinned in the comment section, so you can definitely go check those out to add even more to the offense, but not trying to make this like 35 minutes long. We're just going to kind of keep it simple, run 4 plays, very good setups, and absolutely dot up. So yeah, let's move into our 3 and 4 setups, bench pivot and Jets Dig. Bench pivot, pretty solid play. I only really have one setup for this play. Again, I've talked about this smash return out of Carolina Panthers ebooks. I've talked about it in other videos as well. You can just watch any of my bunch videos, and I probably mention plays with even more setups out of this play. But we're just going to go with kind of a basic one. I'm going to post my right bumper like this player, and I'm just going to drag X. So pretty simple. I can also flat Y. But yeah, here's a look at the setup. Really no motion with this one, but overall you can just kind of open things up. I like this corner out a lot. And people will try to defend the corner out and then lurk down to the drag. But you can easily playmaker it back. Again, if they were playing like heavy man coverage, something like this, just a basic double flat style of defense, they shaded like underneath for their one step aheads to go absolutely crazy, and they were using it. It would be pretty simple to beat the man coverage. We have a lot of man beating routes. Even this Evans route is not terrible against man. We obviously have our playmaker, and the post and corner are kind of what we're focusing on. Gronkowski is pretty slow in this year's game, so he's not exactly going to get that much separation, but that route's definitely solid. If they were to run like a cover 2 with their flats down a little bit lower, like around 10 yards, 10, even 15 yards, they can get over the top of those routes, pending the other routes that you have. But again, here is a look at our setup. And if you want to, you can always send Y out on a route. But just something like this, you see, boom, Gronk gets just wide open over the top. If they're playing lower, if they're playing higher, you can easily throw that out route. Depends on if it's man, zone, whatever coverage. But overall, there's usually something able to be thrown. It's a good concept to mix in, especially, I'll tell you this, that the heavy plays you want to run in the offense are going to be Z-spot and usually Jets dig. But mixing like bench pivot once every 3, 4, 5 plays is going to help you a lot. And overall, there's other setups I could do just to bring up like some basic things. I could like flat Y, zig RB, and like fade B. Doing this just opens up the flats a whole lot. So something like that, again, I've talked about this play a lot in other videos, this particular setup in other videos, but that's something that you could do. If you want even more setups, I recommend you check out that Young Kiv offense, because I think that has smash return / bench pivot a lot. But yeah, one more time, here's a look at our setup. Boom, X on drag, RB on a post. And again, we have a post, so that can in turn create an easy concept for the playmaker back or upfield. So overall, it gives you options. Look on that sideline immediately if it's man coverage. If you have like route tech on your tight end, matchup nightmare, which are abilities I recommend getting. Your tight end can easily beat stock man-to-man coverage against even one step ahead. So those abilities will help your tight end run better. And this route mainly is what you're going to kind of focus in on with those particular abilities. But yeah, let's move into Flood now. Alright guys, let's go ahead and move into our last passing play. After I go over Flood, I'm going to talk about the Audible system because there's some really good forms you can Audible. In particular, Gun Bunch tight end and Trips tight end offset. Now the reason you see I can't Audible right now is because I have, again, McCaffrey at this wide receiver spot. Usually you would have a wide receiver like Deion Sanders who has playmaker, but again, I'm using this in regs. McCaffrey's the guy I got to work with, but yeah, let's move into Flood now. Flood, I have a solid 2-3 setups with this play. What you're going to go ahead and do for our first setup is just relatively stock. We're just going to flat Y. Very simple. This is meant to be a quick snap play. I'm going to come out in the field. I'm going to flat Y, and I'm just going to snap immediately. Read the field. First read is usually going to be Y in the backfield because he's open a lot with that in route. So cover 3, even cover 2, I think he gets open. So again, I'm going to run Flood, relatively stock. We're going to look to the flats immediately, and you see cover 2, now he's wide open. Cover 3 previously, he was open as well. So we have options here. Overall, very difficult to defend this if they go with man coverage. We have a couple of man coverage beaters, not only McCaffrey, but Chris Godwin. And again, if he's just running man coverage and you quick snap him, he's not really going to be able to get off both sideline adjustments. So you should be able to get one or the other pretty open, I would guess. Again, it's just going to be difficult for him to defend if he goes with like a concept kind of like this, or shoot, I accidentally made the wrong adjustments, but something like this where he double flats, hard flats. Usually you can fit in this little out route, and we'll have some more adjustments for this style of defense, but that's going to be our read. RB, X will be open again because there won't necessarily be a hooker on the left. It'll be his user. He'll have to pick between the two. So if he goes with that style of defense, that is completely bagged. Now, our next setup with Flood is going to be a little bit different now. I want you guys to run this play in like 2nd and 5 situations, or like 2nd and 5, 3rd and 7s, just any distance like under 6 yards around there. This play will be even better. So our setup is going to be very similar. We're going to flat our running back, but what we actually want to do differently here is we're going to put X on a post. So I'm going to put McCaffrey here on a post route. The reason why I mentioned 2nd and 5 yards is because this post route gets better at around distances of, you guessed it, 5 yards. If I'm running it at about 10 yards, you see even when I smart out it, it's basically the same distance. And when it's around 5 yards, especially this route like pressed, it's just going to get completely open. So again, I'll run like kind of a man coverage setup, something like this, and we'll snap it. But you see McCaffrey, he does get open. Even McCaffrey, who doesn't exactly have perfect receiving stats, is still able to get separation on a non-really smart routed post. So imagine if you get like 2nd and 5, a receiver with route technician and really good route running, he's just going to absolute torch that route. So again, this is more of a man coverage type beater. Obviously, you can always run it against zone. Even against like cover 3, you can kind of fit it in. But I think against cover 2, it's actually a little bit better. It's important that you don't really wait until what I just did, late play situations, because things will definitely close up. Again, if they go with something like this, I believe the post route is a little bit more open. So we'll post him, we'll flat our running back, we'll smart out X, and again, usually we'll smart out X. As far as these routes, you just kind of got to keep them the same. But you see McCaffrey against cover 2, he can definitely get in that spot. Most people running like a cover 2 shell, they're going to run some sort of double flat or Mabel defense. And that's where you can take advantage. One more time though. Again, just X on a post, Y on a flat, and snap the ball. Again, I could easily throw Gronkowski. I haven't thrown it to him once, but he's open every single play against basically every coverage. Take advantage of it, and overall have some great success if you ask me. But yeah, let's go ahead and move into some of those audibles that I was talking about. Alright guys, let's talk about some of the audibles that we're going to do. First things first, I'm just going to sub out Christian McCaffrey so that we can audible. The formation we're going to audible to our bunch tight end and trips tight end offset. Now, when you're planning on audibling between these formations, you see the way that they're laid out, they're on different sides than the bunch. So usually you want to run your bunch on the wide side. In this case, though, what we're going to have to do is actually come out in our bunch on the short side. So if I was on the right hash mark, I'm going to run it on the short side. In this case, I'm on the left hash mark, so I'm going to flip it and run it like this. That way, so when I audible, my bunch tight end will be to the wide side of the field. I think I'm just going to run it like this and just move the ball a little bit, but that's kind of the thing you want to do. The best plays to audible to are going to be this PA boot over, really at a bunch tight end. You also have inside zone. Those are kind of the two main plays. And then I have trips tight end. There's a really good run. It's going to be called the RPO buck alert bubble at the bottom there. Very, very solid play. So I'll show just a couple of times audibling through them. And again, you're going to come out on the short side of the field, which is not exactly what I did, but I'm just going to respot the ball. So, boom. Now we are on the short side of the field here, and we can do some things. So, again, even what a lot of people will do is come out on the short side and just, like, run C-spot. They're going to flip it. They're going to put A on a streak, Y on a flat, B on a drag, and then they're just going to snap the ball. So, you see, it's just very quick and easy to kind of do something like that. So, that's another strategy thing with this formation. Really every bunch that you should be doing, just come out on the short side. Not only can you flip, get people confused in their adjustments, but you can easily audible. So out of bunch tight end, the run that's better is going to be inside zone, but it's better if with a right-handed QB if I run it to this left side, which is the reason I respotted the ball. If I run it to the other side, you'll see it's going to be a shorter handoff animation. That's just the QB's handedness, but what I would do is I would just audible. I would probably motion out if it was man coverage to create like a shift. And overall, that's an easy way for me to run the ball. 3rd and 1s, I like to do something like that. So again, if they're playing man coverage, I can simply audible, boom. I don't want to deal with the man coverage on like a 3rd and 1 situation. I'm going to do that. I'm going to motion Evans out to get the linebacker out the box, and I'm just going to take advantage. Now, Fournette is slower than dirt, and he has terrible agility and change of direction, so he's not able to get through that hole. But you saw the hole definitely open up there. Again, it always pass, so I'm an audible to PA boot over. I'm going to throw A on just like a basic delay fade. Smart route X, do whatever, not cancel the play action, roll out here, and then just tap A so that he releases. He finally does because he was stuck in the animation, but again, that's good against man coverage. I did make a full video on this PA boot over play as well, so again, I've made full ebooks on bunch tight end, PA boot over, so really you can see a lot of that in separate videos. Just go ahead, search it up. Now, RPO alert buck bubble. This play just very, very solid overall. You're just going to get this nice handoff animation. It's not too good against certain heavier formations, but things like 3-3-5 wide, it just eats up. I should have probably came out in that. But again, RPO alert buck bubble. If it is open, I can always throw this RPO as well. So I can easily just go boom, throw it to B. But again, the handoff is, even though it's like a little bit slower, it's very difficult to gap shoot this run, and it gives you options. So overall, just going to show you guys a little bit, which is what we did. There's obviously other things that I could audible to. Not too many good formations out of this, but if I wanted to audible down and run the ball, I could easily do that as well. But overall, it's going to do for the video. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Follow me on Twitter down below, and peace. I'm out of here.